This week I'd like to talk a little bit about housing, in particular group homes, supported apartments, um, PNMIs, primary non-medical institutions, or those type of settings. In Maine, there is an extreme lack of affordable and suitable housing in general for low-income families. BRAP is stretched. Section 8 has 8-year plus waiting list. Town offices, charities, all those kind of things have a hard time helping find funding for a great number of people. However, what I'd like to talk about is PNMIs. PNMIs are 24-hour supervised settings such as group homes, such as supervised apartments, those kind of things. In the Augusta area, we have several companies that run a number of group homes, probably 4 or 5 that I can think of off the top of my head. And we also have several of those companies that have supervised apartments as well. The problem that we run into is the number of apartments versus the number of clients that need them is disproportionate. There's been funding cuts, there's been all kinds of things that really kind of hinder the ability for agencies to want to fund and invest time and effort into these kind of programs. Right now we have a number of civil clients who are looking at PTPs or are looking at going into group home or supported apartment type settings. The problem becomes they're voluntary at this point because they're attempting to find discharge. The issue is that there is no place that can support them. So, in order to put them near their natural supports or in order to put them near services that they're able to access easily and familiar with, we run into a problem because quite frankly, there's just no beds. It's extraordinarily frustrating when you're trying to help somebody transition into the community who's already had a rocky time in the community in the past, and you are trying to convince them to stay in the hospital so that you can find resources for them, when what they see is a lack of resources and hopelessness and being stuck in the hospital. At times they make bad decisions, or what I feel would be bad decisions, because they decide that they're going to go to a homeless shelter, they're going to go to some various other form of community or setting, or at times they just choose to be discharged to the streets. Now, it's not as cold of a winter as it's been in the past, so right now discharging somebody who decides that they're going to go be transient is doable. It's a horrible situation, but it's not an imminent life-threatening thing, which means that trying to blue paper them becomes a lot more difficult. You can blue paper them, but you'll never get it certified, and you'll never get the white paper. Even in the dead of winter, when it's really cold, we'll almost never get that because of the fact that they have the right to refuse services. So, how do we fix this problem? I mean, homelessness is a nationwide problem. Places like Habitat for Humanity, the Red Cross, other organizations that I know some of you work for have resources that are stretched to the absolute limit, and yet we still have this crisis, at least in Maine, of lack of services for people in the community, and funding and budget issues and all that wonderful stuff. So I'm kind of just ranting a little bit because it's really frustrating. So, any thoughts, concerns, problems that you guys have run into in the past? What's the situation like in your areas? Thanks.